So fuck yes, welcome to After Night. As always, Brian Dressel. With me as always is Jonathan Hardesty.
Welcome back.
And CHEWIE Darso.
Hello.
Unfortunately, we are down one co-host for the next I don't know how many weeks. Emily has found herself gainfully employed, so congratulations to Emily.
Yeah, she chose money over us.
Yeah. Ugh, how rude.
Where's the loyalty?
But yeah, so her
Wait,
schedule...
we're not getting paid for this?
No, you are. The check's in the mail. That lovely voice was Mr. Kyle Smith. We got him back. Yeah.
Hello. What has
After-
it been, 2 years?
I don't know. It's been a while.
No.
No? 1 year?
We definitely did.
No, I guess it's
the
been a
mo-
year.
Why I'm forgetting the name of the
Blade
Felt
Runner.
like two.
Blade
Blade
Runner
Runner,
2.
2049.
Yeah, last year.
So it's been a year.
I think I was pregnant when we did that.
I think so.
Yeah.
I just enjoy inviting Kyle on for movies that he has cosplayed.
Yes. Yes.
It just seemed to be the theme.
There's actually two similarities for me between these two movies that I've done with you guys.
Excessively long in cosplaying.
Okay, so 3.
And very dramatic men.
Yeah.
What's the other one? What am I missing?
Well, I don't know if I should reveal it yet.
Okay, then we'll hold on to it.
We'll hold. Yeah.
Yeah.
You were both shot in IMAX? No.
So we'll do a very quick "Where have you been doing?" before we dive into our movie of the day, which will be Mission Impossible: Fallout.
Wicca Fallout.
God, that joke is not going to stick around. God damn it. I'm going to go first because I am bursting at the seams, and I'm going to ruin everything for you. That's not true at all. I'm actually totally not allowed to. I saw Captain Marvel. Woo! I got to see it 2 weeks before it came out because I had a friend who had a girlfriend who was not able to go, which worked out really well for me. And all I can say is whether or not I liked it, and I can tell you that I loved the absolute hell out of it. It is in contention for my favorite Marvel movie, I think, ever. Everybody in the movie is fantastic. It actually kept me guessing a few times, even though I'd had some stuff spoiled for me because I know friends who worked on it. But I would try to avoid reviews as much as you can. Not ours, of course, which will drop on March 5th when the embargo drops. Which I will say now, if you do want to read my review of it when it comes out, the first 3 to 4 paragraphs is as spoiler-free as fucking reading a magazine not related to the movie.
Doesn't even say what the name of the movie is, too. So
all it says is the name of the movie. That's
This-
it. The rest of it is just general feeling about how I feel it compares to the rest of the MCU and just whether or not it was a good movie. I don't give away character names. I don't give away location. I give away nothing in the first 4 paragraphs. So you can read that thing and go in totally fresh. Everything past the first 4 paragraphs, you will have everything ruined for you. So I understand if you don't read past there until after you see it.
As a sidebar, just you can cut this
Shoot.
out. Remind me, and I'll make an image, like spoilers below image.
Okay,
in
cool.
the post.
So yeah, that's really all I'm going to say about it. Otherwise, then when it comes out on March 5th or March 8th or whatever the hell day it is, go see it as soon as you can. It was fantastic.
And that was a preview for your new podcast, Before the Hype,
Yes,
right?
of course. Yeah. Yeah, we are trying to put some more up-to-date stuff on the website because that's, fun.
Yeah.
That's really it. It's just,
Well, and it's good to finally have an opportunity to kind of get ahead of the game.
yeah, this is the earliest we've ever been on anything, especially since we're, by choice, super late on everything.
Right.
Yes. That's it for me.
So I've been continuing along the Venture Brothers train. I just just finished season 3. Thought that was pretty bonkers, and there was a lot of unexpected stuff at the end of that. And I started season 4.
Why did you buckle up? I don't know. Why would you do that?
Come on, Dean. Yeah, and then I just started season 4, and true to what you said last time you mentioned it, it just goes. What was it? You jump the shark.
Yeah,
it jumps the shark, and it's so good for it.
Yep.
I've had to be careful when I watch it because I started to laugh louder and heartier with each passing episode as the jokes start to kind of pay off.
Oh yeah, it's season 4 is a doozy. It's really good.
Yeah, so really enjoying it, and the podcast too.
Yeah, they're okay.
Thanks. Hey, fuck you. Where have you been doing?
Where have I been doing? I have not been able to catch up on too much lately, but I did watch the first episode of Umbrella Academy on Netflix. And I only had vague knowledge of this series on Dark Horse. I knew what it was. I never read it. I didn't realize it was written by the lead singer of My Chemical Romance, Gerard Way. And I was like, well, that makes sense with the costumes. And the first episode, I really enjoyed. It really got me in like a lot of intrigue and everything. I thought the casting is really good. Ellen Page is really mopey, but I understand the reason she's mopey.
Everyone is really mopey. That is daddy issues of the show.
It is daddy issues of the show. And I'm excited to watch more episodes. I didn't watch one last night because I didn't know if you'd be mad if I watched one without you.
I would have been.
Okay, so I
watching.
did. Okay. So that'll be the next make sure we wait for each other to watch it show. And
So check in with us in a year when we finished it.
But yeah, I don't want to give too many details for anyone who hasn't got it because it's just recently on Netflix. So anyone who hasn't gotten
Caesar's
it.
great in it.
Yeah. It does have a talking ape, and he's very delightful.
Wait, and they named him Caesar?
No.
No.
Brian's making a joke.
Okay, I'd have been like, wow, synchronicity.
Caesar
But yeah.
is hope.
I don't know. I liked it. So I'm going to leave it at that. Kyle, go.
All right. I haven't been anywhere recently because I'm like too busy. But last month, where have I been? Was Sundance.
Oh.
So, and I maybe saw 32 films.
I feel like you usually see more. Is that a low number
No,
for you?
that was my record.
That's your record.
Goodness.
Wow.
Yeah.
Do you even sleep when you go to Sundance?
No, because usually I'm seeing a like 9 a.m. movie or an 8:30 a.m. movie and a midnight movie.
Yeah, you have to get there super early.
And you have to get there. Yeah, like it's not like I did 5 one day and I was like, that's it. And then I did 6 one day and I was like, no, that's literally it.
Did you
because
eat during the
there's-
movies? Like, how do you do that?
No, the thing is, it's not like I marathon movies at movie theaters all the time, but that's like one right after the other, you know,
Right.
like maybe 15 minutes in between movies, if that. Whereas at Sundance, you've got like at least an hour in between movies where you're just like standing in line. So that's usually when I eat.
Have like taco vendors or hot dog vendors taking advantage of the lines?
They have concessions at like the locations.
Okay.
You know, it's fairly limited, but they've got some food. I feel like the food truck game could be pretty big there, but I just don't think they really exist
They
in
need to
that
do that.
environment.
It's the same feeling I had last time I was in line to get into a DMV. I'm like, why is there not a taco truck right here?
Oh, man.
Yeah.
That'd be such a good idea.
I will say the concessions are at least usually run by local like cafes or restaurants.
Okay.
That's kinda
so
cool.
at least it's
Not
like
just popcorn.
So it
and
helps
hot
the local
dogs.
business.
so it helps the community. So
Any standouts?
yes, I will give you my rough top 4.
Okay.
And then a 5th that you can actually watch right now. Not now. Finish the episode.
Okay. I was like,
And
should we
then go
pause?
watch it. So my top 4 were definitely The Farewell, which has Awkwafina in it.
I love Aquafina.
And I think it's the best thing she's done in her acting career thus far. Her very
Wow.
short acting career, but she's fantastic in it. The Last Black Man in San Francisco, which is great because it's actually an independent film. A lot of movies at Sundance no longer really feel like independent films
Yeah.
because they've all got big celebrities
Sure,
in them. Danny Glover's in this film for maybe 10 minutes. He's the biggest name in it. The leads are all like first-time actors. And,
That's awesome.
It's a beautiful film, really poetic, and the cinematography and score are top-notch. I Am Mother, which is a really great sci-fi, like apocalyptic robot raising a human child in a bunker.
I've heard 3 or 4 people talk about that one.
Yeah, I really liked it, and I think it's a really beautiful, like low budget sci-fi.
Cool.
And then Blinded by the Light, which is from the writer director of Bend It Like Beckham.
Oh, okay.
And so, in her style, it's a period piece, a Pakistani British kid growing up in small town outside of London, and he discovers the music of Bruce Springsteen, and it changes his life. and they got the blessing of Springsteen to use all of his songs in the film. It's really fun.
Is that the one I can watch right now?
No, it's
God
not.
damn it.
It's not.
You've discovered the movie that Brian's entire family is just going to become obsessed with.
Yeah, it's.
Big Springsteen
I think you're
fans.
really going to
Yeah.
enjoy it. Yeah. And then the movie you can watch right now is Velvet Buzzsaw, which is on Netflix.
Oh, yeah.
Ooh, I saw
We've
that
heard
one.
good things.
So it's going to be a very divisive movie. You're either going to love it or hate it.
Yep.
I loved it. It's my type of comedy, and I love the commentary on the art world. It's based around like the kind of like the gallery
Okay, sure.
selling art and what is art, and it becomes like a. I think it's a horror comedy. Some people might just think it's a horror film. I think it's an extremely funny film.
Almost like a farce, even too.
Yes,
Just on the
yeah.
whole art. I thought it was delightful.
Yeah.
And enjoyable and hilarious.
Yeah.
But in a dark
Don't
way.
watch the trailer, by the way.
No, the Netflix trailer spoils
The
so
Netflix
much.
trailer gives away so much.
Yep.
That's
Go
really
in like
unfortunate.
I went into it blind, and it was the best way to see it.
I've been trying to do that more. Like I hadn't seen the Captain Marvel trailer. I saw the first one once, and then I haven't watched anything since it.
Yeah.
I think that made that movie that much more enjoyable. Trailers are getting pretty rough these days.
Yeah.
Well, and Netflix auto plays these. The
I-
second you highlight
Yes.
them,
Yeah.
so you have to be fast.
I
so,
hate
So
that.
jump into Velvet Buzzsaw as fast as you can. Just don't even look. Just jump in and.
Yeah.
Fucking Netflix.
Yeah.
Okay, that is where have you been doing? With only 4 people here, it goes a little bit quicker. That's
Yeah.
nice. So we're gonna start with Mission Possible Fallout. I was going to like print out all the like stats and stuff for this one, but I don't really need them. This is the most successful Mission Possible movie to date. It's made more money than the rest of them, and that is actually part of the discussion for today of why do we think that happened. Before we jump anywhere too far into it, though, we should do what we like to call 30-second breakdown. This week coming to you from Kyle Smith. Kyle, are you excited for this one?
Yeah, once again, I'm breaking down a over 2 hour and 30-minute movie in 30 seconds.
And
So
yet again, a very complex 2 hour,
Yes,
30-minute
yes.
movie. I mean, there's a
So-
lot of action in this, but there is a lot of plot.
I have cheat notes.
Okay.
And
Probably need a timer.
but it's going to be tight. It's a matter of how fast I can read my cheat notes, basically.
I am excited.
All right, hold on.
We haven't had a success in a
Gotta
while,
do some
so
breathing exercises here.
all right. Let me know when you're ready.
All right, ready.
All right, Mission Possible Fallout in 30 seconds. Here we go, 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 go!
Ethan Hunt and his IMF team lose some plutonium. While they attempt to retrieve it, the CIA forces Hunt to be shadowed by Agent Walker, who looks a lot like Superman with a mustache. They halo jump into Paris and then destroy a nightclub bathroom. They have to abduct Solomon Lane in order to retrieve the plutonium as payment. Turns out Walker is working with Lane, but Hunt's team is a step ahead, then a step behind. Tom Cruise breaks his ankle. They track Lane and Walker and the plutonium to a medical camp where, surprise, Hunt's ex-wife is stationed. The team defuses 2 bombs while Hunt and Walker are in a helicopter chase and then fist fight up on a cliff. Then Walker gets the hook. Ethan Hunt and IMF save the day.
Oh my god, just like Mission Possible itself, you finished at the last second. That was impressive. Well done.
Yeah. Oddly enough, like a lot is left out of there, but I think those are the main points.
Yeah. There was a couple.
I mean, plus I had to include jokes because
Well, yeah, of
jokes
course.
are important.
Jokes are important to everything. But I think that does a pretty good.
Did a very good job.
Yeah, that gets everything. So before we get like too deep into like the ins and outs of this thing, what's the general opinion around the table? Do everyone like this movie as much as the world seemed to enjoy this one, or is it not up there with the rest of the Mission Possible franchise?
Oh, it's a ton of fun.
Yeah.
It is the one that requires the most of its viewer, I would say, of a lot of these movies. You can't be as passive as you can be in other Mission Impossible films.
No, I mean, like, you watch Mission Possible 2, and you can just turn your brain off until you hear the music rev up, and it's like, oh, it's going to be fun now. Ooh, there's Limp Bizkit. But, like, and you kind of had that with, I'd say the majority of them, like 3, 4...
With 3, it's like, oh, someone took Tom's wife. He's going to go get his wife back. Okay, cool, it's Eric Bana.
yeah. It's so, like,
His wife is Eric Bana?
No, he got kidnapped by Eric Bana.
Get kidnapped by Philip Seymour Hoffman.
No.
That was 3.
That's 3. 3's Phyllis Seymour
That's
Hoffman.
3. Yeah.
Oh, so 4 is when she gets kidnapped by Eric Bana.
I don't think Eric Bana's in any
I
of these
don't think
movies.
no.
No, it wasn't Nyquist, the
Who? No.
dragon tattoo guy, the
Eric
detective.
Bana
Yeah,
is the
was
one
in
that
4?
is the double crosser and kidnaps Michelle Monaghan.
No.
Isn't that Eric?
No, it's you're thinking of
I didn't take notes on the other movies. I didn't know I had to.
Big Fish.
No,
Billy Crudup.
Billy
Billy
Crudup.
Crudup. There
Yeah.
it is.
That's who you're thinking of.
That's who you're thinking of.
I get them mixed up.
He's the
sometimes.
double crosser
Yeah.
in MI3.
Yeah. I'm glad we all got there together.
MI4.
4. Yes.
I'm
Right?
sure everyone else was
Wait,
there
what?
before
Or-
us.
Wait, which,
3.
I'm
3.
so
I'm
mixed
pretty sure
up.
it's 3.
Billy Crudup is in 3.
Yeah, that's all 3. You had the movie
For
right.
some reason, I always leave Philip Seymour Hoffman out of it when I remember that
Philip
movie.
Seymour Hoffman's so good in
Yeah,
the third
he's
one.
so good
He's
in that
so
movie.
good in it, but I always focus on the other guy.
I'm
But I
gonna
think that's-
find her.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna kill her.
Sorry.
So good in that movie. And then
To
Tom
get
Cruise
back-
kicks over a suitcase.
To get back to a similar situation in this film.
Yeah, but like that's kind of my point though. Is like every movie before this one, I feel like they don't necessarily like blend together, but it is kind of like the what was that one in again? Like, oh, is that the one with the building or is that the one with the plane? Like,
Yeah,
there's like they're
yeah.
all kind of samey, and then I feel like this one did a really good job of standing out. Like this one felt more like the first one to me, where like the first one you had to pay attention. There's a double cross a second. You have to like, what the hell is the knock list? Like, what is going on in this
Yeah.
movie? And then we haven't had like that level of like spy movie since then. Everything between there has just been fun action movie featuring spies.
Yeah.
And I thought that was a really refreshing thing to go back to. John, what do you think of it overall?
I'm pretty like mediocre on it. I really enjoyed it in the moment to moment of the movie. I was on board for it. I was stressed out as the countdown was happening to yet another bomb thing, and it was like, oh, we did it again. And I was like, yes, we did. And it's like I had the sense after watching it, more so after watching it, that it was like that difficulty of trying to figure out where everything was placed, and then starting to kind of lose details on this movie again. Like I feel like I should watch it another time just to.
That's what I said. This movie requires more
Right.
engagement.
It requires more engagement when the series so far has been kind of you can kind of coast on it, and I think I may have missed a movie in between. So generally, like I'm sitting kind of on the middle of it. I really enjoyed it in the moment. Afterwards, it feels like the rest, for me at least.
Okay. And Kyle, what was your general take on it?
Well, this is my, I guess, third similar thing to
Yeah.
Blade Runner, the last movie I did with you. It was my favorite movie of the year.
Okay, yeah.
So I loved it.
See, I'm right
I
there
loved
with you.
seeing it in the theater. I saw it again in the theater, and I've watched it multiple times since it's come out on
It was one of
video.
our few. We're getting a babysitter tonight. We're definitely going to this movie.
Yeah, like I enjoy the franchise, and I agree with Kyle. Like this one was just I don't, and we'll get into it in like probably just a minute here. I don't know why this one clicked better than the rest, but it just all seemed to kind of work. But we can kind of get into that. So that was going to be like my big talking point. I'm going out of order of our notes today. I apologize. But why do you think this one is the most well received? Because it's not just like with us around the table. Like globally, this one has done better than any of the rest.
Well, I think it has similarities to Fast and the Furious in this regard, where it's an established franchise that's been going on for a while, and then got made fun of for a while, and then people start going, "Oh no, wait, they're good. Oh, this one's great. We're all going to go to this one," and it's one where the most it brings more things in from previous films than the other movies did. So it has more payoff in that regard, especially for fans that have been sticking with it the whole time. It has a really great established cast.
Yeah. Sorry, not to interrupt, but just to jump on what you were saying. When you say that this one has more things from previous films, I think that both in a lesser director hand or lesser, I don't know, hand, like I feel like that would be more of a problem. Like this one has a ton of stuff from other films that if you haven't watched them, you might be a little confused.
Yeah.
Or at least you'd think you would. But I think they handle it really well. Like
I think
they handle it
like,
splendidly.
yeah, if you didn't know who Sean
Harris.
Sean Harris was, like if you don't remember who he was from the movie before, it'd be like, okay, I guess this is the bad guy. Like, and you wouldn't have any problem like, oh, I need to see him get caught by Ethan Hunt to understand he got caught by Ethan Hunt. No, they have it. It's a good moment. Like it's a really good moment where Henry asks him, "Oh God, you're the one who caught him, aren't you?"
Yeah.
It's a good reveal.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
I think it's been the most successful because it does involve the other films in the franchise, but it also does a really good job of just being a standalone movie.
Yeah.
Well,
I
yeah.
think they just handled it really well. They, which is difficult in the time of, Marvel and all these anthology movies. You got to keep everything straight, but also be just a standalone movie.
Well, it's
Because
kind of
some
the
people
thing-
don't want to see every movie. Some people do want to see every movie, and I think this just did a really good job of combining those. And
Kind of like what
audiences.
procedural television shows can kind of do well is that, you kind of get the sense that this is moving forward. But they've been kind of in this perpetual state of just estrangement and return to each other. And like, we're doing this again. All that stuff is happening over and over and over again. But it feels like it's progressed further as they've gotten older. Like, so yeah, to what you said, I agree.
And it's I don't remember exactly what I was going to say because it's interesting that we have like the same characters and like the same cast and it's everybody who keeps coming back, but at the same time, if you've never seen them, they don't waste time introducing like this is Simon Pegg or Benji. He is the computer guy. It's just naturally like, oh, you can just see like they did it so naturally where it doesn't feel like you're getting exposition, but in a way you kind of are. And I think that comes down to this is the first time we've had a repeated director in the franchise. It got kind of known for each time we're going to bring in a big bombastic director who's going to bring their own style to it. And like that was something I actually kind of looked forward to. Like I liked it when I was like, okay, so Abrams did one. That's really cool. Who are they going to bring on next? Brad Bird? Like that's insane. And it was an exciting time to be like a fan of this stuff. And then I heard that McQuarrie was coming back and I was like, I'm not sure how I feel about that. And he's not just coming back, he's doing more.
Yeah.
And after
Well, what's funny is McQuarrie, after doing the last one, said, like, he was like, I feel bad for the person who's going to have to do the next one because I don't know how we can top this one. And then it was him. And then he said that again about this movie. And now he's doing 2 more. So,
See, another relation to Fast and the Furious, actually, with Justin Lin.
yeah.
Well, maybe that's kind of where I start sitting on the fence a little bit in that I'm like kind of feeling middling on it. Because like it is or there's similar things. Because I feel like I have seen the one before it, but I just forget so much of it. And I'm like, I had to remind myself through Wikipedia. And I was like, okay, I get it. And this feels maybe similar in a way. I don't know. Because I'm trying to say it in a way that I still really like this movie. I really enjoyed it. But it does have traces of familiarity that the Brad Bird one did, going from the Abrams one, et cetera, et cetera.
So I've at the end of this, I will plug another podcast that I suggest people listen to if they really like this movie. It's an interview with McQuarrie, and he actually talks about how he wanted to honor the fact that usually a new director comes in. He wanted this to feel like a different director was doing this. So a lot of his department heads are different than his usual department heads. New cinematographer, I believe new production designer. So he like made a conscious effort to make it feel like a different movie. I think he succeeded. I think it looks like a completely different movie.
Because I like Rogue Nation. I think it was a very good movie, but when it came to like the grand all of the Mission Impossible movies, it wasn't as bad as 2, but I'd put it right above 2. Like I thought it was a solid movie and I enjoyed it for what it was, whereas 2 is kind of a joke. So I'm not saying it's a bad film, but when it came to the rest of the Mission Impossible movies, it's probably the one that I'd return to the least. And then so that's probably why I wasn't as excited for this one. And no, I think whatever he learned on the first one and whatever he changed up, I agree with you. It felt like a different movie and it felt great to me.
Yeah.
I would say the thing that makes this movie stand out the most from all the other films and really like pulls you in it from the beginning is the sense of failure. Because before, in every other Mission Impossible film, Ethan Hunt's untouchable. Like he always knows exactly what to do and he's definitely going to do it right away. And in this one, he fails. He gets too emotional. He's connected to his crew, so he loses the plutonium. And then we get the next scene, which is, it's a switcheroo, but we believe for a good 10 minutes that the world just got bombed. We fully believe that. We think that he's suffering the ramifications of his decision and the world is like going to go into a nuclear wasteland. And they've never done that to us in any other movie where we got a sense of Ethan Hunt just straight up failing.
I bought that too.
They did it well enough. We're like, the first
Yeah.
few minutes, I'm like, wow, they hid this well in the trailer.
They did it really well. And I think that's one of the reasons that everyone immediately got pulled in, because it was something new and it was harsh.
I think that moment is one of the best mask moments in all of, or at least like ruse moments in all of Mission Impossible, because they trick a majority of the audience too.
Yeah.
That maybe where I actually got more on board too with it. That moment.
That's what I mean. It's something completely new for the franchise, so it immediately requires your attention.
It's not even that it requires it. It's that it gets it.
Well, that's what I mean.
But that's what I mean again. Like it's what I was saying earlier with the other stuff. Like it did everything so naturally. Like this is the thing that's been bothering me a lot in just film in general. I feel like we've gotten way too exposition heavy, just kind of in general in most films. And this one did a very good job of what it does. Exposition dump in the very beginning with the "Should you choose to accept it" video. And then not really again the rest of the way. There's exposition littered throughout the entire film, but it's hidden and actually mixed into the movie, and you never have that moment of like, oh, here's them telling me what's going on.
Yeah, this movie,
which I could be remembering this wrong, but I believe that exposition dump is McQuarrie. I believe that's his voice.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah.
That actually brought up a good question when I was watching. I'm like, who the fuck edits these things? Yeah. Like that thing is well edited. Like that had to take somebody time.
but it's an example of being able to trust your audience and trust your own ability as a filmmaker to take an established franchise, and even so you have all this baggage that you are bringing into this film, make it in such a way that it is open to new audiences and satisfy the old fans. Well, like it is such an accomplishment.
Yeah.
Is some of it too that he's allowed to trust the audience too? Because with the whole bringing new directors on, like it seems like you could just they might not know what they can get away with or do. And it seems like with his previous film, knowing that going forward, he knew he could trust the audience, or like he could get away with trusting the audience without like oversight or something like that.
Yeah, it really does. I think it makes a good argument for bringing directors back, which I never thought I'd be on the side of. But he really got to learn what worked and didn't work with one movie, and then expand upon that in the next one, which is it's kind of nice. But moving on from just kind of our opinion and why we think this one was most received, what do we think of? Let's just start with good old Tom Cruise. How's Tom Cruise aging in this role? We like him still?
He's showing his age a little bit.
A little bit.
I love Tom Cruise.
So do I.
I personally think Tom
56
Cruise
years
is
old.
one of the best actors in history.
I want to argue with that statement because I feel like I should, but I just can't. Like
I'm not sure how it would start.
Yeah, it's like
I will agree with you on just his level of dedication and I don't know, it's just he is fantastic. You love to see him on screen.
Yeah.
I don't really feel like he loses himself in roles anymore that aren't action related.
But I almost feel like I don't want him to. Like, and that's like it's kind of an older style of acting that I'm like we don't get a lot of. Everyone's kind of trying to immerse themselves into the role method. But
yeah.
he's Tom Cruise, the action star.
Yeah,
I think also I don't get tired of Tom Cruise, the action star.
I don't get tired of Tom Cruise being Tom Cruise.
Other actors, like if they kind of start to do the same thing over and over, it gets a little boring. I don't get bored with Tom Cruise. I don't.
Yeah.
There's a reason why. Like we've made this argument before on the show, and I'll probably make it again. I think Tom Cruise is one of the last bankable actors. Where if you put him in the movie, it's going to make money.
Well, that doesn't always work.
Yeah, that one where the American something.
Actually, I like that movie a lot.
I've never seen it, but it did do well.
It did better than you'd think, though.
Really?
They made their money back.
The Mummy.
The Mummy
was
did
really
well
terrible.
internationally.
Oh, I hate the Mummy.
Yeah, it made its money.
I hate that movie.
But internationally, they showed up for it. We didn't hear because it was trash.
Yeah.
But when we did watch it, and it was fun to watch him in it.
Yeah.
That's true. Yeah.
No.
I don't.
I hate everything about the Mummy.
I liked his.
I would agree with that. I don't hate Tom Cruise in The Mummy. I just hate that movie.
Oh, it's such a bad movie.
Yeah.
He could never decide what type of character he was.
But still, I mean, we're talking about a guy who releases at least, well, on average, a movie a year, and usually it's one of the higher grossing movies of that year. Like he's still people show up to see Tom Cruise.
Also, sorry.
No, go ahead.
I was just going to say, I have a theory that I'm fairly certain Tom Cruise is trying to kill himself while making a Mission Impossible movie.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me.
Would that be his ideal way to go?
I would not be surprised if he has writing in his contract that they have to finish the movie if he dies.
Yeah, that wouldn't surprise me at all.
Suddenly, Ving Rhames
wouldn't.
has to do an action sequence, and Ving Rhames is like, what?
He's like, bitch, I can't walk. But no, I think you're right. I think Tom Cruise is he's as good as he's ever been in the role, and it's fun when you go back to like the first one because I think Tom Cruise, like what Kyle just said, he's a great actor, and if you watch from the first movie to this movie, he's still Ethan Hunt. Like, it's still, like, obviously it's Tom Cruise in every role, but Ethan Hunt has grown as a character as Tom Cruise has grown as an actor. Like, when you watch the first one,
definitely getting wary.
yeah, but you watch the first movie and he's a shitty little, like, cocky fucking agent.
Yeah.
And then you watch now and he is a seasoned star of an agent. And it's kind of fun seeing that growth because you kind of have the same thing with Tom Cruise. At the time, like, he was fucking Tom Cruise. It was the 90s and Tom Cruise. Everybody wanted to be him. Everybody wanted to be with him. And now he's older, but it's like he doesn't have that same star power that he did then, but he's still Tom Cruise and everyone still loves him as more of a legend now. And you kind of have that with Ethan Hunt now. He's more of the legend. And I think that's kind of cool.
And in the way that he plays the character now, like I was saying, he's wary. Like, you can see it on his face. Like, you can almost feel it from, like, oozing out of him a little bit, where he thought at some point he would have finished, that he would have made the world safe. And even especially when he got that guy into jail and he thought he was done. And, like, nope. And in this whole, like I said before, he made a mistake in this movie. And that's definitely wearing down on him. And every time he's trying to figure another situation out, you can kind of see it and hear it in his voice. Like, he's just like, why is this not done yet?
Oh, especially the helicopter chase. Like, he's ready to die in the helicopter chase. Like, he's going for it.
Yeah. I also love that character's motivation, and they call it out. I'm going to jump forward to, well, it's my second favorite quote. So
that's fine.
Hopefully nobody uses
if
my
it comes up
quote.
organically, that's fine.
So Secretary Hunley, played by Alec Baldwin, says to Hunt, some flaw deep in your core being simply won't allow you to choose between one life and millions. Now, you see that as a sign of weakness. To me, that's your greatest strength. I think that's such a strong motivation for an action hero. Mm-hmm. Like, he literally wants to save every single person.
He wants to save the world.
Yeah. And you see it in this movie. Like, that's a theme, a really strong theme in this movie. You know, you've referenced it as a mistake. He saves a team member and potentially puts millions of lives in danger.
I mean, it is a conundrum where he did and didn't make a mistake.
Yeah.
But.
Well, because in his mind, his mistake was losing the plutonium. It was not saving Vignettes.
Yeah.
Like, that was the right call.
Yeah.
And it just happened to be that he lost plutonium while doing it.
You know, and it comes back again. It's a constant theme in the movie, you know, with the French police officer that gets shot.
Just walk away.
Like,
I love that
he
scene.
knows, like, he has to save her, even though it endangers the rest of the mission. You know,
and that's the
just on the little woman thing for a moment here. I love that the one person he needs to save in that scenario already looks like a model. Like, you can't be an ugly woman and be next to Ethan Hunt, by the way. There is no average women in these movies.
Well, no, it's a transformative thing being around him.
Yeah.
You just change into...
Yeah, if you're a woman and you get close to Ethan Hunt, you're gorgeous. No matter what your job is.
Yeah. But there's something about that scene that I thought was interesting, and it's mostly that we've never had a scene like that in any other Mission Impossible movie. Like, this whole theme that we're talking about, where he wants to save every life, is like you can kind of, if you want to, you can kind of find your way back through the rest of the franchise. Like, oh, I guess it was there, but it wasn't really cemented until this one, and that could be. And I think that goes back to what I was saying earlier. That's the growth of the character.
It's also just a growth of the genre almost, because even with this and like the Bourne films, very rarely do these movies ever acknowledge the pedestrian impact that their rampages have.
Yeah, that's true.
And this is one little moment in between action sequences, in between another car chase, where you get to see this woman get hurt.
Or if you get him, it's a joke.
Like,
yeah.
Let's move on to Henry. Good old Henry Cavill.
Henry.
Oh, that
I love
mustache.
I enjoyed watching him.
I
enjoyed watching him just be charisma on screen.
Yes. I also will say I really like Henry Cavill, and I think he's been, like, I'm really glad that people keep giving him opportunities, because I think he's consistently good. Just some of his films just haven't been performing. Like, I think Man from U.N.C.L.E. was really great.
Yeah.
And I like
Nobody
both.
saw it,
I like both of those actors too.
love
Armie Hammer's another actor that I'm glad keeps getting opportunities, because I think he's very good. And like I think Henry Cavill oozes charisma. Like,
I think he has to deal with one of the things that a lot of men like him have to deal with, of trying to prove that you are a very good actor while still being a beefcake.
Well, yeah, and it's a problem that we haven't, like, that was like a thing coming out of the 80s that a lot of 80s action stars had to deal with. Like Arnold Schwarzenegger, like, no,
I'm more than muscles and charisma.
I can be a dad. No, you can't. But like
I can be a comedian.
Yeah, and like that's the thing, is like Henry is just a big guy.
Yeah.
Like there's a reason he was cast as Superman, because he walks in a room and is like, fuck, that's Superman. Like he's just a big, like, not intimidating, but just a big, well-built guy.
He's the reason why he's the only part of that trailer we talk about.
Yeah, and like
to this day.
such a good fight
And
scene.
he does it so well in this movie, where Angela Bassett calls him her hammer, and he definitely fulfills that. And then he flips it where he is a little bit of a scalpel. Like he is a little bit of a maniac, and he hit it very well until, Ethan Hunt figured it out, and then then you're finished.
Yeah.
I think one thing that helped too in that was the choice to kind of put him in more of a comedic relief role in the beginning. Kind of make jokes at his expense.
That he was so by the book.
So by the book and just kind of so robotic, but then like weirdly goofy at times, just in the decisions he made.
Oh my! When they land on the building in Paris after he was like unconscious, and he's just like, it just lands very professional.
You lost your air.
I just love the way he landed. Like I'm the pro here. It's like, dude, you were just dead.
Well, because I'm sure in his brain he's like, oh wow, I blacked out, but then I came to and I'm fine.
Yeah.
So like he has no idea that Hunt saved him.
perfect.
So of course he's gonna play it off like nothing happened.
Like there should have been like in an extra scene there could have been I made the mistake when I saved your life over Paris. The hell is he talking about?
Yeah.
And
Did I almost die over Paris? Nobody told me.
Yeah.
the other comedic thing I love about this movie is we all know the mustache gate, essentially.
Yeah.
And they did
Stashgate, please.
Stashgate. And to their benefit, they did need him to have that mustache, because if you watch this movie, you know he's evil, because every single person who's even remotely a villain has facial hair in some way.
It's true.
There's mustaches, there's goatees, there's 5 o'clock shadows, and the only people that are clean shaven are women and our 3 protagonists.
Way to call it like most of the podcast here.
Ouch.
Well, you guys are all evil, by the way. Seriously, because I love that part in the club when he's looking around at all the people that are staring evilly at him.
Oh, when he's
And
with
they-
the what is it? The white.
The White Widow.
The White
Widow,
Widow,
yes.
and then like it progresses. So like, okay, well that guy's got a mustache, that guy's got a goatee, and that guy looks super angry. He's got a full beard. He's serious.
He's walking right at me.
It's just it's comedic almost, like how important it is, how evil you are, depending on the level of beard you have, and the scruffiest, gangliest beard belongs to Lane.
That is kind of funny. What do we think about his Tom Cruise's crew, if you will? The Simon Peggs, Ving Rhames, Rebecca Ferguson's.
It's interesting to see how Ving Rhames has gained weight and Benji has lost weight.
That is interesting.
Okay.
I just don't.
I didn't notice that, honestly.
I did.
I think the only reason is because you watch him walk around. I made the joke earlier. Ving Rhames clearly is not the most agile guy these days. When you get that kind of sedentary, I think you put on some pounds.
I feel like this is the best or the most opportunity he's been given in the franchise since the first one, though.
Absolutely.
Oh, to have
He kind of
dramatic
he became
moments.
that guy in the van.
Yeah.
And then in this movie, they finally took him out of the van.
Mm-hmm.
And some of the,
They literally take him out of the van in the beginning.
They did.
but like they put him in the field, but they don't ever. They do it again. This speaking more to the movie's like quality. They never showcase the fact that like the actor is not agile. Like they do it well enough where no, he might not be agile, but he's the one defusing the bomb. Like he's the one distributing advice. Like he's
the
always
technical
working,
backup.
Yeah, he's always where he needs to be, and he's great at what he does. Like it makes sense why Tom Cruise wants Luther around at all times.
Yeah.
I would say it does feel like with these movies in succession that we're getting less and less of them. Like, and that might just be because of how charismatic Tom Cruise is and how the scenario just takes over at the very end. But it felt like there was less of like those two guys in this one versus other ones, and I felt like there was less of them. But like maybe because they were spread out more or something. I just wish I missed them.
And
it's a weird
I have
feeling
to
feel.
disagree with
Yeah,
that
I
one.
think I didn't have that problem at all in this one.
I feel like they're always with Tom Cruise.
I feel like in the other movies they were always comedic relief. Like all of his other people were just like a gang of knuckleheads behind him who just somehow make things work, and Tom Cruise is the only capable one.
Yeah,
I think
we had it with Jeremy Renner for a hot second, and then he went away.
Yeah, but like I think this one, the difference is that it's not a bunch of knuckleheads behind him. Like they actually switched it up and they made everyone who's with him a capable agent. So it's not that they weren't in it as much; they just weren't showcased in the same way. Whereas like in Rogue Nation during the car chase, you have Tom Cruise on a motorcycle getting beaten up, dying at a moment, and everyone else behind them, you can almost put Benny Hill behind, and they're just like, where the hell did Tom Cruise go? Whee! And like this one just doesn't, like they don't do that. Like they're actually in the sequences. Like
So
Benji
then maybe that's
has
just
action sequences.
So then maybe it's just not being used to that, having them have
Yeah.
more of a
Yeah.
forefront, and then being like, I like you guys in this role, do more. Maybe. Like, it felt like I wanted more. I wanted more of them. I
You
feel like.
missed the comedic beats, and I could understand that.
Yeah.
Just that this movie doesn't really have them.
No.
I think it does. I think
I mean,
they're
it's,
just
they're smaller. That's what I mean. Like they're
honestly,
still there, but they're not as
I've,
apparent.
but I feel like most of the comedic beats have been shifted to Tom Cruise, Henry Cavill, and Rebecca Ferguson, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And actually, Michelle Monaghan has a really great line too. That's very
Yeah.
funny. I wanted to mention I really love that Simon Pegg Benji finally gets to wear a mask, and they don't like make a thing about it. He's
Yeah.
actually the only person who wears a mask in this movie, but they like don't call it out. It's been like a running joke that he never gets to wear a mask,
Oh, okay.
and he is the only one who wears a mask in this movie.
And I like that he wears it so often he almost gets tired of it. Like,
Yeah.
why do I have to do it this time? And just that look.
Yeah.
It's not even a
Yeah.
line, just the look.
Well, that
Ving
great
Rhames.
moment of like you, me.
Yeah.
It's like, which one are they going to buy his him?
We haven't talked on where's her freaking name?
Rebecca Ferguson.
No.
Angela
Yes,
Bassett?
Rebecca Ferguson. Sorry. Her character is tricky for me in what they're doing with her. They're putting her in, again, a similar thing to Fast and the Furious, which I didn't even know I was going to reference that movie so much in this review. The whole I'm the second woman trope. Because we had that with Chris Hemsworth's wife in the Fast movies. I forgot her name in those movies.
So did I. Continue.
Yeah. Where she definitely has her own vendetta. She kind of brings it up, but it's mostly Ethan Hunt looking at her face and just guessing everything, which is a great scene, but it's also kind of silly.
I love that.
It's supposed to speak to the level of their relationship and however much they keep wanting to make their relationship seem super deep and well-earned. It doesn't fully work for me. Because she was in the previous film and she was fantastic in that film.
Yeah.
And this one, she's mostly just kind of following them around and then helping a bit every now and then. And then we get to the end when she learns who Michelle Monaghan / Julia is, and she's all like, "Oh, Ethan, he's so deep and multi-layered because he has this love for this woman and I didn't know about it, but he also loves me. I'm a little conflicted."
See, I see what you're saying, but just to be a counterpoint, I don't think that was the emotion going through her head. What I think, and I could be reading into this just because I like the movie so much, what I think she was going through right there is, oh, I can't have a relationship with him.
Well, there is. That's what I mean. She's conflicted.
But it's not, I can't have a relationship with him because he was married. I can't have a relationship with him because he's incapable of having a relationship.
Yes, but that's kind of what I was getting towards. She has to realize that she's never going to be number one for him, and it's kind of impossible to be in a relationship with him, like you were saying.
Yeah, he does not have a number one. Like his
Yeah.
number one is society and people at large. Like, so he will never be able to focus on anyone in a romantic way, even if he wants to.
And he's just kind of like the ultimate mysterious romantic man in that regard, which is a trope in many movies.
Sure.
And also,
of
don't they
how
call-
he's the one that every woman wants but can't have because he's dedicated to the job. And they've never really done that in these movies before because it was just obvious he's dedicated to the job. And I mean, there's a part of me that loves that kind of romance, and then there's another part of me that's a little annoyed at it because we've never gotten that with a woman in any film ever. I would love to see that scene between a man and... I would love to see that scene flipped someday in a movie.
I would like to see that too, but I guess it didn't stand out to me as much because I feel like, I don't know, the romance isn't really important. It's obviously they have a connection, but it's not like a, there isn't a scene where they like pour their hearts out to each other or anything.
No.
It's kind of, there's obviously feelings going on, but it's not really, to me, it's not, other than like building characters and letting them be real people, to me, it's not important to the plot.
I disagree, because they have so many moments where it is the plot. Like the entire sequence when she's walking after Ethan and they're doing like a kill it cat and mouse thing and he's just walking in front of her. Oh, suddenly he's behind her. We're going to walk into these trees now. That's like a big plot moment of them getting together and figuring out what their motivations are. And then we have 2 different sequences where we just settle on... I keep forgetting her name. Rebecca's face. When Ving Rhames is describing Monaghan to her, and we're just settling on her face and her different expressions, absorbing the information, and then we settle on her for a while when she's staring up at Monaghan when they get to the camp.
Well, so I think to me it's more about bringing Michelle Monaghan back into the story and ending, like bringing closure to that.
Yeah, because they really did leave that as like an open door.
Because it was just, they like kind of mention it a little bit in the films between 3 and now.
Yeah, I think you see her
You
in
see
like
her
one
at
scene.
the end of the
at
movie.
the end of-
But he's like
of-
checking up on her.
Of Ghost Protocol?
I think Ghost
See,
Protocol,
they
yeah.
start to blur together, but
Yeah.
yeah. So it, I feel like that was the more important thing. And then I actually think the editing in that scene when they realize that Michelle Monaghan is at the medical camp, I think the editing in that scene is really well done and it's really tight.
I love the sequence. I love seeing her character again. It's just the lingering on Rebecca's face to express her emotions.
Yeah, but see, I don't think they linger. I think they use it, and I'm going to quote McQuarrie from the interview that I listened to. He is in that scene, he said that he's using Rebecca Ferguson to show what Ethan Hunt can't emote. Because Ethan Hunt is the consummate spy, so he's saving face in this moment where his estranged wife is there and her new husband is there, so he's trying to put on this persona, and so McQuarrie was using Rebecca Ferguson to help the audience understand what Ethan Hunt is going through.
That's really strange to me.
I'd have to-
Maybe I recommend listening to the
Okay,
interview, because maybe I'm explaining it wrong.
Yeah,
but
because the way you're
it makes
explaining
sense
it,
to me.
it
I'd have
feels
to
like you're
see it with
using a
that in
woman
mind.
to channel a man's emotion.
No, it's not that. Like, don't
I don't really.
don't even bring that into it. That's not.
I'm sorry. It's
If
just
that's
the way
the way,
it sounds.
if that's the way I'm describing it, that's not how it was intended. It's
I get what you're saying too, but also kind of like that as we're watching, where are we going to look for the response to her showing back up? We know that Ethan Hunt's just going to be a Stonewall. Well, who's the next person?
But he wasn't a Stonewall.
Yeah, I thought he was emoting himself very well in that scene. I wouldn't have needed Rebecca to emote for him at
but
all.
he's definitely holding back.
Oh,
So
yeah.
I think it's a matter of Rebecca Ferguson's character realizing what Ethan Hunt is going through. I think that's what she's emoting in that scene.
That's
See,
the spoonful
I-
of sugar that
I
helps the
guess
medicine go down, I guess.
Maybe that would be for the new audience for this movie.
It could be.
For me, since I've seen every one of these films multiple times because I love this franchise, I don't need that. Like I knew his emotions, I could feel them, and I remember the baggage and everything.
Yeah. I think
Sorry, I was just
your opinion might not change about the scene after you listen to the interview, but I think you should listen to the interview because
Okay.
there's a lot of interesting
I mean, like I said, I
discussion
didn't hate
about
the scene.
that scene. There's
I-
a lot of discussion about that scene.
I will say this, and then we should move on. I think that's the best acting Tom Cruise does in the whole movie is when he runs into her the first time.
Every
He
time
does
he's
such a good job. in
Every
that
time
scene.
he sees her face, like I even loved the part when Henry puts her photo down in the elevator and he almost lets go of the elevator. Like everything about it, like because he loves her so much still, and he probably still wishes he could be her husband. And
Yep.
I also think Wes Bentley is very good in that scene too.
He
Oh,
is.
yeah.
Because he could be like the dopey, like, second guy who doesn't understand what's going on, but you can tell that he kind of
He
has
gets
a clue
he
that
gets the feeling.
something's
He
going
gets it.
on.
Oh,
right-
definitely
He gets it,
at
and
the
then
end
by
of
the
it.
Just
end,
enough.
he understands.
Yeah.
And for a moment there, because he has facial hair, you're really wondering whether or not he's evil. But then he turns out to be the one good guy with a beard.
What's the Dr. Smock?
But we've been talking for a while, so we do
Yes.
need to move on. I was going to talk relation to the franchise, but I think we've kind of already gotten there. The one thing that I will bring up, just because I find this interesting to do with these sorts of things, and then we'll move into quotes. If you had to ask for one thing in the next movie, what would you want them to do next? Like, what would impress you?
I think the thing about this movie is that in the previous movies, there's usually been like one standout stunt
Yeah.
that like defines each movie. This movie has multiple standout stunts.
Yes.
So
Let-
I guess I want the entire movie to be stunts.
For me, it would be, since in this movie they've established Ethan Hunt's wariness a bit and how he is slowing down. Even when he was doing the long running scene, he looked like he was like over it. He's tired of running, essentially.
Tom Cruise is never tired.
He's,
But he
can run
looked
forever.
tired. His character looked tired. Like every time Benji gave him a direction, he's like, okay.
Well, he did that because
That
he's
scene's
3
great.
stories up. He was supposed to be on the ground.
Even so, what I'm saying is we have established that he's been doing this for a long time. He is getting kind of tired. He's started to make little mistakes here and there. He doesn't always know exactly what to do in every moment. Because there is plenty of times in this movie where he's going, no. Oh, I'm going to figure this out. I have to figure this out. I don't know what to do right now. We'll just, bowl
Sure.
through it. And we've established Rebecca Ferguson, Ilsa Faust, right? As such a capable agent. And she was just kind of a secondhand spy in this movie, where I would love to see her rise to the occasion, and now we start to split it a little bit, where she will lead an action sequence. I would enjoy that if we start evolving these movies a little bit to not solely be the Ethan Hunt show, even though I do love Ethan Hunt. The franchise will die eventually. Every franchise dies, but if we want to continue...
James Bond.
Yeah. Well, then we have to start recasting. I would love to see her featured more heavily in an action sequence and not just be the backup to Ethan, where she is the lead in an action sequence for once.
I would like to just point out, though, that her character saves them in the bathroom. And when she gets tied up, she saves herself.
Yes, those
So
are
I
both
think-
nice, but neither of those sequences is she
But she's
the
not taking
lead.
the helicopter. She's not.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, yeah.
she's
Yeah.
not. She's not the one initiating the fight and continuing the fight. She's just kind of in a snippet of a fight.
I thi-
I'd like to see the focus on her.
Yeah, I think you're both kind of saying the same thing. We've
Yeah.
shown how capable and
Yeah.
awesome she is. Now let's see her do a stunt show like Ethan
Yeah,
Hunt.
like she gets into a room, has a fight sequence, and then Ethan comes in the end and goes, "Oh, you're done. Cool.
That'd be pretty great.
You didn't need me."
I would actually kind of like to see, now that, like, with per the quote you mentioned, McCory saying, hey, how can I top myself? I would kind of like to see them go counter to that and try to go more intimate, more small scale, and like try to see if they could make that same energy work with like perceived smaller stakes, but that are still very
So,
important.
like, going back to the scene that everybody remembers from the first movie, where it's the Caribbean down to rappelling down to the
But something
floor,
that-
but being quiet and
Because we're being revved like really high up here with
Yeah.
all this action and high octane stuff, and it'd be really cool to kind of jump back a little bit, and it'd be unexpected. I wouldn't expect
Yeah.
that to be the next follow up to Fallout. Would be
That is a-
rest a little bit.
I don't see at this point with where Ethan Hunt is, I don't see him getting called out on those small jobs.
No,
It'd be cool to see, but I don't.
but to the whole age thing, that could be the out that you could get yourself
that's
into
true.
for it.
Yeah. I think for me, what I really want to see is I think it'd be interesting to see if the government disavow Ethan Hunt Like,
Again.
No.
This time the entire world is after him. It's like John Wick 3.
Yeah, or maybe we can have a motorcycle chase.
maybe they'll avow him in the next one.
You're hired.
And then like there's 30 minutes of like, I was not expecting that. What do we do
He'll
now?
get a Medal of Honor and a nice pat on the
Yeah.
head and be like,
Yeah.
good job, chap.
We love Ethan Hunt.
Good job, chap. Pip, pip, cheerio.
No, what I'd really like to see in the next one is it's closer to what Chewie was saying, but I'd like to see them. They've always had this like team around him, and I'd like to see them kind of expand the team more in the way of what they're flirting with in 3, and didn't really fully go that way. But since he is getting older and a little bit worn down, I think it'd be nice to kind of give him like. Since I'm wearing the ring today, I'll use Green Lantern Corps as like a reference of like the Green Lantern Corps, at least where it was before Grant Morrison took over, was essentially the 4 Earth humans, and none of them were more capable than the other. They're all needed at all times. And I think it'd be kind of interesting to give Ethan Hunt that sort of support. So if we have Rebecca Ferguson, now we have Benji, who we've seen to be more capable. Start making it a little bit more like he can share the load because he is getting older, because he is a little bit more worn down. So instead of just having Ethan Hunt's doing the chase, Ethan Hunt's in the helicopter, Ethan Hunt's doing this, we could have all those going at the same time, but all 4 different agents doing it.
So like the Mission Impossible version of Avengers.
Yeah,
Avengers.
I think that'd be kind of cool.
As long as we don't just have woman against woman like in Avengers again.
Well, right.
Well, yeah, of course, but
And speaking of Avengers, I'd like to see Jeremy Renner back. That's why
Yes.
he wasn't
yes.
in this movie because of Avengers. They toyed with the idea of bringing him back and killing him. Like that was the most
I'd be
that
so
they
sad.
could get out of his schedule.
I've been so mad.
And they decided that it wasn't worth it, that it was better to hold on to his character and keep his character in the world. So I would like to see him come back.
Oh yes.
he and Tom Cruise work so well together. Like, and I kind of have the same thing with like Henry. Like, I understand you kind of have to kill Henry. Like, it just kind of makes sense in this movie.
Yeah.
But the two of them worked so well together. I'm like, sign them up for the next Tom Cruise movie. Like, they have really good chemistry.
Make sure he's wearing the same pair of pants.
Jeremy Renner or Henry Cavill?
Jeremy Renner.
Both?
Yeah.
I mean, we only got a little bit of Henry's butt in this movie when he was getting
basically moons the camera when he's getting to the
in
helicopter.
the helicopter. Oh yes,
It's
I know.
a full
I
screen of
noticed.
Henry Cavill butt.
I liked it, and the fact
In
that
70 millimeter.
and the fact that countdown clock is just sitting in his crotch, so we got multiple Henry crotch
yeah.
shots. I'm like, there is a little bit of female gaze in these films, which is one of the reasons I love them.
Okay, so let's move into quotes. I have 2, but I'm going to do the one that I wrote down because I'm pretty sure none of you have this one. I think that Alec Baldwin, when he got signed on for this franchise, he was giddy. That's the only word I can describe.
I don't think he was planned to stay in the franchise.
No.
Alec Baldwin said that he would only come back if they killed him.
Oh, okay. Well, that makes sense.
That's great.
Also, in the last film, Sean Harris wanted to be killed because he didn't want to be in the next one. But they decided that it didn't work, and then at the end of shooting that film, they started coming up with the idea of bringing him back. So,
I mean, it worked.
Yeah.
I mean, both of those worked. Alec Baldwin dying worked, and Sean
Yes,
Harris coming back worked. So they made the right call.
Yeah.
But I feel like Alec Baldwin, since he turned down the franchise famously in his career when he decided not to be what's the character's name?
Jack Ryan.
Jack Ryan. He never really got to do like his spy movie stuff. So now doing it older in his career, you can just kind of see like, as much as you want to see the councilman or whatever the hell his name is, it's Alec Baldwin, and he's having a good time. And they gave him a really good quippy moment when he puts the gun to Henry Cavill's back of, I've just ruined your day, haven't I?
Yeah.
It's just like,
And then he has another one. You're like, oh, you thought that one was loaded, but this one is.
Yeah.
I remember that one.
There's like 3 like great lines in a row in that scene. Yeah.
It's like I love seeing Alec Baldwin. It's like that was really cool. That was mine though.
Yeah.
So for mine, I like the line that Erica Sloan used when she was kind of dissing the IMF, saying it's like Halloween, a bunch of grown men in rubber masks playing trick or treat. And I like that. That's what I kind of come to these movies for. The grown men in masks, doing the trick or treat thing. And that this movie was able to take it to 11 with that room, doing it in the whole room. The room was a mask.
And then they bring it back in the scene
Yeah.
where Walker realizes that he's talking to someone in a mask. It's great. It's a great moment.
Such a great moment.
His thought process is.
Do you know if Angela
visual.
Bassett's coming back?
I assume that she's going
It
to
felt like
somehow.
It felt like they're kind of
Return.
setting up
Yeah.
a new M sort of character. Yeah.
My favorite line, which is working into Ethan's getting a little wary, is when he's running down the plan. And he's like, Benji's gonna put on the mask, and then we're gonna switch him out. And then Benji's like, okay, well, what's happening after that? How am I not gonna die? And Ethan's just like, I'm working on it. Like, I love that moment. Like, stop asking questions, Benji.
I love Simon Pegg in these movies. Kyle, did you say yours or no? You said one
No,
earlier.
so I said one earlier, but my favorite line from the film, for multiple reasons, is Henry Cavill says it to when Walker is talking to who he thinks is Lane, why do you have to make this so fucking complicated?
A certain song popped in my head after he shouted that, and I just laughed and laughed. It was great.
I just think it's a great line because I love the trope in these spy movies of the villain like making this like really complicated like plan where everything has to go right for all of these things to happen, and finally a character just calls it out and it's like, why don't we just kill him? Like, I love that moment. Plus, it is the first F-bomb in the Mission series.
And,
oh, really?
And as a
and he sells it.
Yeah, he does.
Really
it was the
lays
mustache
into it.
that sold that F-bomb.
and as a character moment, it's the only time his character like kind of loses control for a moment. He's always very collected and reserved in every scene until that one.
I feel like it's always kind of bubbling under his like
it's
exterior.
bubbling, but
at all times.
He lets it out in that
Yeah.
one moment.
Yeah.
And
And my other line that I just want to throw out there because yours kind of leads into it is when they're both in their crashed helicopters and Walker looks down at Ethan Hunt and goes, "Why won't you die?" And I love that because I just like to think about how many people have thought that about Ethan Hunt.
Why would you just die?
Like how many people just looked at him like, "How is he still fucking coming after me?" Like I blew up an entire city and I just see him running away from it. Like what the fuck?
it's Ethan Hunt.
It's Ethan Hunt.
He's invincible in a way.
Review system today will be movies featuring a double cross you totally saw coming. I don't think it was the movie's fault that we saw Henry Cavill definitely coming as a double cross. The trailers spoiled this shit.
Well, I don't
It's the
think
mustache that did.
I also don't think the movie tries to hide it as much as everybody think it does. Like it's revealed pretty early on when he gives the phone.
Yeah. As soon as the phone comes,
it's like, oh yeah, he's a straight up bad guy. We don't fully, I guess, know the extent of his badness, but there's always clues. I think there's actually clues really early on in the film too. Like
mustache.
The mustache. But I want to say I think he's in the exposition dump at the beginning. I think his face is blacked out, but he's in there. Like,
that wouldn't surprise me. Yeah.
But it's also
So
like,
it's-
out of all these characters who we've come to know out of the series, he's the one we don't know.
Yeah.
Out in the field with him is like, okay, I have a pretty good guess.
Yeah. So
And that's kind of the fun of it. It's like, but like, when are they going to reveal it?
yeah. So this is the curse your inevitable betrayal
So,
review system.
John, do you have one? Because I have one, and I'm really proud of it.
Go for it.
Oh, go ahead. You can do it. I have a couple.
So, mine would be Coco. Pixar's
Nice.
Coco. So, and
That is a good one.
there's twists in that movie that I genuinely saw coming. But the thing about both these movies and their plot twists are, I think it's the difference between an obvious plot twist and a logical plot twist. I think these are both examples of just logical storytelling and like, oh yes, of course that's a twist. Like that makes the most sense for the story.
Yeah, that works. Mine is going to be related to, if you listen to our Valentine's Day episode with our couple night movie, Titan AE. And it was just one of those things where you see the character, I'm forgetting his name now, but he's voiced by, how am I forgetting his name? Nathan Fillion. Not Nathan Fillion. Timon from...
Nathan Lane?
Nathan Lane, thank you. Voiced by Nathan Lane. And you just see the character design. You're like, oh, that's a bad guy. Oh, he's a good guy. I didn't think he'd be a good guy. He definitely. Oh, no, he's a bad guy. There he is. It's just like one of those things where, like, I totally see this coming the whole way through. And the movie doesn't really try to hide it. Kind of like this one doesn't really try to hide it. Like, it does as much as it has to say that it tried a little bit. And I was totally fine with that. And it worked.
For me, it's Iron Man. The minute you see Obadiah Stane come in with Jeff Bridges, you're like, he's a bad dude.
More great facial hair.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
Never
in fact, he had
trust the
like
facial
no
hair.
hair on top, so
Yeah,
that
yeah.
was like the double whammy
yeah.
of villainy right there.
Like, Obadiah, you look a shitload like Lex Luthor right now.
Yep.
Let me just eat these marbles real fast.
Yeah.
Last but not least.
I'm just gonna go for an overall franchise double cross, not the movie it was featured in,
Okay.
because the movie it was featured in is not very good.
Uh-oh. Where the hell are you going with this?
I'm curious.
Emperor Palpatine turns out to be the bad guy.
Oh yeah.
I guess that's spoiled like decades before we see the twist happen on screen.
Yeah, you
Not that well at all.
see him.
In the, all the Jedi think, Senator Palpatine, he's totally on our
Yeah,
side.
you see
Yeah,
Phantom
yeah.
Menace, and you're like, that guy is trustworthy.
Oh, shit.
I would
He's
leave him the keys to
Sith
my
Lord.
flat.
Yeah.
He's an upstanding dude.
Yeah.
I guess, if you watch them in episodic order, that is a twist that you see coming.
So, yes, inevitable betrayal, but it leads into so many amazing things, and I love it. So, that.
Well
That's
done.
a good one.
We'll follow your career with great interest.
I was trying to think of a singular movie that I loved that had a double cross, but I'm like, nope, Star Wars.
Yeah, that makes sense. So that is it for Mission Impossible Fallout. We've ruined absolutely everything in the movie, but if you haven't seen it by this point, that's your fault. Coming up next week, we have a movie that I was so prepared to fall in love with, and then I didn't, and we're going to talk about why. I still think it's a great movie, and I think it was very well made, but it's not my favorite by a long shot. We're talking about Roma. How everyone pronounces it.
Roma.
And I'm very excited to talk about it. We have a good old camera guy and fellow venture bro come to talk with us, Mr. Graham T. Mason. It'll be a lot of fun. And then after that, we have more episodes. You'll have to listen to find out because I don't have the calendar in front of me. So quick round of plugs. Listen to Venture Bros every Monday at 10 a.m. Listen to Samwise every Wednesday at 10 a.m.
Tuesday
at 10 a.m. Articles are Wednesdays and Fridays. Fridays are usually by Matt Dykes. Be sure to check out his Babylon 5 article. We have more shows coming down the pipeline, but we do not have launch days for them yet. So they are Demon Days and a Dogs podcast, to be determined when they're coming out, but it will be soon-ish.
Yeah, and now it's just for Demon Days. It's just getting everyone together. I'm fully prepared.
Nice. Anything else to plug?
No, that's pretty much it. We're on Twitter and Facebook. Follow those and share our stuff.
Cool. Chewie, anything to plug?
Let's keep watching Superstore. Give me having good job security. I appreciate that.
Watch it twice, even.
And Kyle, what are all the plugs that you have?
All the plugs.
Yeah.
The main plug is Check 15, the monthly Cancer Awareness Day. Every month we create a cancer awareness video. Check15.org. I also can, I guess, announce that I have been nominated for the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society's Man of the Year.
Congratulations.
Wow.
Congrats.
Thank you. Their Man and Woman of the Year is a fundraising campaign. It's a bit of a competition. All the candidates try to get the most votes. $1 equals one vote. So from March 25th through June 8th, I will be campaigning to raise funds for the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society.
Amazing.
Okay.
Make sure to send us a link to that, and we'll post it on our
I
site.
will indeed, yes. And then I would like to mention, if you really love Mission Impossible Fallout, once you finish this podcast, go check out Empire Film Podcast, their spoiler special, featuring director Christopher McQuarrie. Parts 1 and 3 are interviews with him. They're a little redundant, so if you just want to listen to one, you can just listen to part 1. Part 3 embellishes upon a bunch of
What
stuff.
happened with part 2?
Part 2 is just the Empire crew talking about their reactions. Altogether, parts 1 and 3 are almost 6 hours long.
Oh, goodness.
And they go into extreme detail about the filmmaking process, the editing process, the stunts, the fact that they didn't have a finished script when they were making this film.
Huh.
And I think the fact that Tom Cruise broke his ankle in the middle of production, I think it saved this film. Because it gave them time to work on the story.
That's
and then
very
they came back even after he, his ankle miraculously healed in like 9 weeks.
They played that clip on the Graham Norton show over and over again. And
he prayed to Xenu, and Xenu delivered.
those Xeno foot splints.
But it's a really interesting interview if you love this film and are really interested in the filmmaking process. They also talk a lot about the testing process, which happens with a lot of blockbuster films. They test the movie, and they have questionnaires, and they talk to the audience and stuff. They did a lot of extensive testing.
Oh,
with this
interesting.
film.
So that brings a close to today's episode. Thank you very much, everyone, for listening. Thank you, Kyle, for coming back on. Always a pleasure to have you.